love you.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you. I love you.
Welcome to Tea Time with Sweetapple. I'm Sweetapple, and today I thought I would have some of this nice little dance song oolong that's always sitting here. There's not too much left, so I figured I owed it to y'all to have some of this on camera before I drank it all. It's really, really tasty. I don't know if you'll get a good look in there. Grab my phone, get some light shining into it for you, so you can actually see what I'm talking about. There we go. This has such a nice, like mild, woody aroma to it. It's very pleasant. It's kind of, I talked about another oolong not too long ago that reminded me of like the essence of an old book, and this one definitely has similar characteristics. Let's get some measured out. a little bit more than 7, and this is getting pretty low. I think I'm gonna, when I finish this, I think I'll probably put the rest of my Taiguan yin into it. And the water just finished boiling too. That's some good timing right there. So let's start heating up the teaware and get going on tea time. This song's kind of the perfect vibe for right now, no? Technically, it's inspired by a coffee shop, but similar vibe for sure. Oh, who's this? Wacky name. That's fair, you know. This is really adrenaline pumping and your face stuff, so you have a nice day, wacky name. It's about to get real exhilarating, so you may want to, you know, bounce before you have a pulmonary and I start making this tea. Hmm. Yeah, this is a really nice smelling tea. It's got, you know, like I said, that sort of essence of an old book smell, you know, a little leathery, very mild woodiness. We got an adrenaline junkie in the chat, huh, failed robot? um, but yeah, it's got that leathery note. It's very mild woodiness. There's a sweetness that kind of underpins all of that. And there's a little bit of a spice, like a spiced note uh, on the nose as well. It doesn't come out as strong in the tea itself, but it definitely adds to the aroma, and it's really, really nice. Pretty mild flavor on that first steep, but the aroma is still really great, and that's kind of what I love the most about oolongs. I think is just the incredible aromas, like on the Taiguan Yin, where it smells like a latte, and that always blows my mind. um, I do enjoy the flavor as well. Like I said, this kind of has, hey, welcome, Sammy. This kind of has that sort of old book, like essence of old book flavor, and it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm drinking knowledge.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
Hope y'all are having a good Monday, starting off your week strong. I know I was feeling kind of sluggish when I got out of bed this morning, but I got some exciting stuff to work on this week, so I am pretty stoked. Excited to, get my week going. I was reading about Twitch categories this morning. And I realized I think I was committing a faux pas by having my previous streams labeled as just chatting. Apparently that's frowned upon in the Twitch community, and I belong in food and drink. So here we are on the food and drink side of Twitch now. Figured I should try it out, make sure you know I'm not breaking any unspoken Twitch rules. All right, second steep. Let me get my strainer set up first. That that old book smell is really strong now. It's definitely taking over. But man, I love the color of this tea. It's so beautiful. Very nectar like. Mm-hmm. There it is. it's yeah, this is one of those teas that it just you feel like you're drinking the essence of an old book, but like in a good way, you know? You get that leathery note, you get the very mild woodiness, but there's enough sweetness that it doesn't feel weird to the palate. It's very pleasant. It's got a pretty uplifting energy. I'm already starting to feel the chi of the tea, so that's always nice. A little pick me up to get me going. I'm gonna be working on a project for the fall. I don't know how much I want to give away information wise, but I'm gonna be doing some co-producing with a fellow artist who's a wow, that's loud. I hope you can't hear that. I'm gonna be doing some co-producing with a fellow artist and collaborator who makes some really cool music. Actually, Sammy, you've heard some of their production on that song that I showed you a couple streams ago, if I remember correctly. And we're gonna be making some cool stuff, you know, some spooky vibes. So I'm excited. That's gonna be a really fun project to work on. I also have my album coming out on Friday, which is why I'm trying to shift focus to my next project, because I feel like when you work on something for a really long time, like I've been working on this album, I started that in November, you get this sort of like slump when it's done, and it takes a while to like gear back up and get back into that creative state to create things again. So I'm trying to hack that by just already being on to my next project. Because otherwise I tend to have like these long droughts where I'm not really as productive as I want to be. And that's been something I've been working on a lot this year, is just trying to optimize my productivity where I'm not burning myself out, but I'm also consistently producing quality stuff. And I think I'm getting there. I think I am. I made a lot of progress and I'm having fun doing it. It's a good place to be in. This tea is very delicious. If you like oolong and you like stuff that vaguely tastes like books, I definitely recommend this one. It's super tasty. Also, you get this adorable caddy. Like, come on, that's so cute. Maybe tomorrow we'll bust open this bad boy here. The Emperor's Golden Puar. Mm, that's so good. Wow, yeah, that chi is definitely starting to hit me now. I'm definitely feeling alert, but also that kind of almost like that headband effect you get from some strains of weed. I almost feel bad comparing tea to weed, but I don't know. Sometimes the chi of the tea just makes me feel stoned, and weed is the best comparison for that energy, the way it makes you feel. Um, yeah, this is definitely giving me that sort of like headband slash floaty eye feel, and it's very delicious. So it's a win-win, you know. It took me a lot longer than it took me to appreciate the flavor of tea. It took me much longer to appreciate the flavor of cannabis. So I do I do find it so fascinating though how people don't really talk about tea being psychoactive. Excuse me. But you know, in my first couple teas that I had, like of high quality teas, I didn't really know what I was looking for, so I bought kind of low quality stuff on accident. And I didn't really get that experience, but when you got really good tea, not only does it taste good, but it really does just slow you down, kind of make you more mindful and aware, but not like turn like weed gets you where you're just like blasted and couch locked. This always gets me, up and raring to go, which I appreciate. But it's different than like energy drinks or coffee. It's very unique. There's a lot of dimensionality to really love about tea, and I'm still learning. I'm far from an expert, but it's a fun process to explore, experience different teas and reflect on what they have to offer. Some don't really energize me or have any sort of psychoactive effect for me, and that's fine because they taste ridiculously good. Like the Tai Guan Yin that I have, that one is just unbelievably tasty, like almost dessert-like. But it doesn't really have a strong chi, and that's cool because it's super delicious. And then I got this pu'er that is not aged nearly enough, and it's so bitter. It does not taste good. But when I tried it, that it had me smacked. Oh my goodness. I felt proper stoned from that one. So it's interesting how there's different elements that you can appreciate just beyond, the aroma and the flavor. It do make me yap though. The tea gets me yapping for sure.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
I get a little OCD trying to shake out those last drops sometimes. Especially when I'm not on camera. When I'm on camera, I start to get self-aware, and then I'm like, oh no, I gotta chill, move on to the next thing. But when I'm just chilling, drinking tea on my own, I'll just be like, all right, how many drops are we gonna get out? Gotta get it all, Maximize my investment. Kind of funny when you start consistently releasing music, you pretty quickly reach a point where you're kind of living in the future a lot, Like it's July, almost beginning of August, and mentally I'm already in October. I'm thinking about, what I'm going to be working on and releasing then, how we're going to promote it, what I want it to sound like. And I'm just, I'm thinking like I've been watching. Well, I stopped. I was last month watching tons of like royalty free horror movies, looking for interesting samples, and I definitely found some. That's a gold mine. If anyone out there makes music, there's just this whole treasure trove of public domain horror with all kinds of cool samples and sounds, and also like synth lines. Like old horror movies love synthesizers, and there's some sick synth samples that you could pull. Um, but yeah, I've been just kind of like thinking about more immersing myself again now that this project's finally getting rolling, and most people are still very much in their summer vibes. And then I'm also going to be promoting the album while simultaneously fully immersed in this October project. It's yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting the way that you tend to live in the future when you're working on projects like that. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. There's also I want to start writing a screenplay. I have the idea for. Um, I got to get a Bible written, as they call it, just kind of mapping out all the characters and their motivations and things like that. Just kind of getting an in-depth understanding of each character and the role they play interpersonally, and then start writing. So I'm still in like the pre-development phase of it, but it's gonna be like a dark comedy that satirizes our cultural obsession with serial killers, because I find that really interesting. How there's so much media and cultural fixation around objectively some of the most despicable members of civilized society. And I think the way that people romanticize them is really funny. And so I kind of want to play with that and poke fun at that in a playful way, but in a way that maybe, holds the mirror up to people and asks if we really should be romanticizing these people in the way that we do.
If you're hearing this, I
So
love you.
yeah, I like to have multiple projects going on, because I find that if I let myself get idle, it's easy to stay that way. An object in motion stays in motion, sort of thing. Yeah, the screenplay is definitely it's gonna be a challenge because I haven't done anything like that. I've written a bunch of short stories before back in the day, but never anything this large and taken as seriously as I want to take this, because I would love to, reach a point that it's a script I could shop out. I am only like an hour ish from LA. I might as well take advantage, nah? Always try to get those last couple drops. If nothing else, I feel like they make for good shots to edit.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
Yeah, at this point, mostly what I'm getting from the tea is so the essence of book quality has kind of diminished at this point, and the that spiced note has sort of come back to the forefront, and that's underpinned by that sweetness that's kind of just always been there throughout all the steeps so far. It's really tasty, but it's definitely starting to brew out a little bit. But that spice note is definitely a little bit more in the forefront and has a little bit more dimension to it now that it's not overpowered by the book quality, like that leather and woody note. That's the fun of gong fu, you know? You get to experience the evolution of the flavor of the tea and really explore the dimensionality of it over the course of all the steeps, which is always really fun. I haven't had any teas that have like radically transformed. I hear people talk about teas that do that, but in my experience so far, I haven't found one. But I definitely want to because that sounds really cool. I'd love to, excuse me, I'd love to experience that. Who knows? I still got a bunch of teas that I haven't tried from my big Yunnan sourcing haul, so maybe one of those will be one of the teas that blows my mind. That's always such a fun experience. You get a tea and it just blows your mind because it opens you up to a whole new realm of possibilities of what tea can taste like. And that always makes me so excited. It always just, makes me want to buy a ton more tea and explore that genre that I've just discovered. But yeah, I think drinking tea has given me a deeper appreciation for simple joys like that. It's just one last drop and I see it. Dang. I admit defeat. I'm not gonna get that last little drop out. Oh, also, you can definitely see the tea is starting to get a little paler. Yeah, yeah, the soup is so beautiful. I was saying that a couple steeps ago, actually. It's definitely it's getting a little bit paler, but its first couple steeps, it looked just like nectar straight up. It was beautiful. Everything about this tea is just very enticing and very appetizing, at least to me. You know, you have gorgeous tea soup. The leaves smell incredible. The tea itself tastes fantastic. And it steeps for a pretty long time, especially for an oolong. I feel like most oolongs don't require a second kettle of water. Excuse me, a second kettle of water like this one did. So this has a lot of brews to offer, whereas the Taiwan Yin, I get like I think 3-4 steeps and then it starts to like seriously diminish in flavor. This one still has a pretty substantial amount of flavor left. And I'm well into the second kettle on here. Oh, I didn't wait for this water to get hot. I was like, this tea is cold. The kettle's only at 40 degrees. Let's fix that. Swear I'd be hitting the buttons on this by accident. Messing up my settings without even realizing it. I'm gonna drink I'm gonna give this to Niels. This one's for you, buddy. Of all the songs, pop it in the microwave. That's not a bad idea, but too late now. Um, of all the songs that I could have stuck in my head at this moment, for some reason that is entirely beyond me, I have Chocolate Rain by Tay Zonde stuck in my head. And I've had it stuck there for like, I don't know, at least 10 minutes now. Just chilling out. Chocolate Rain. Low key a banger, not gonna lie. Dude's got an incredible voice. Wonder what he's up to now. Think he still makes music? Hope so. That'd be cool. It's always kind of sad when like someone has a flash in the pan and then never really is able to sustain that. But he hung around for a while. Some say drive others speed. Sum 41, wow. I got to see them at Warp Tour the year that they got back together. They put on a hell of a set. They were pretty good. I also saw Yellow Card that year, which was the year they broke up, but apparently they're back together and touring again, which like awesome. But I still got to see them when they were breaking up, I guess. That was a good year. I think that was like the year or 2 years before Warp Tour stopped being a thing. And I had no idea that that was coming at that point. I definitely would have soaked it in a little bit more had I known. I think that was the same summer I saw Blink 182. That was back when they had Matt Skiba in the band, and you know, before Tom came back. And that was a pretty good show. I definitely wish I could have seen the lineup with Tom. There's no shot that I could afford a ticket now, the way the ticket prices for live music are. That was the year California came out. I'll look it up because I don't know offhand, but I can just look up what year the album came out.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
That would have been 2016. So like a billion and a half years ago. Yeah, to be honest, I thought getting the band back together with Matt Skiba was the best we were gonna get. And now Tom is back in the band, and I don't even think I've really listened to their new album with him on it. My taste in music has changed so much since then. It's so funny. I still love punk, don't get me wrong, but I mostly listen to like hip hop and R&B these days. But yeah, they were touring with All Time Low, and I was actually super into All Time Low back then, especially their guitarist Jack Barracat. I was a huge fan. I literally like got the exact same pickups that he used and had those installed in my guitar because I loved his tone so much. And honestly, I still stand by that. His tone was incredible. Dude had just perfect blend of like this aggressive, biting, punky tone, but enough sponginess and enough top end to make it sing and make it be poppy and catchy. It was beautiful. It was exactly what I wanted. Had my Schecter. I swapped out
I love you.
the not pass dynamic pickups for the Pasic. They were the let me look it up. There were some Seymour Duncans. It was a set. Seymour Duncan. JV. Yeah, so it was a set they sell. The Seymour Duncan JB and Jazz set. And JB and 59. Yeah, I think that's it. The JB and the 59. Is that the Jazz pickup? The SH4 and the SH2. That was the ones. Very nice. That's what's up. I love those pickups. And then I would run those when my band was touring. I would run that into a triple rack. They're so punchy. Exactly. You get it. You get it. But yeah, I'd run that through my Mesa triple rack, and then that would go out an orange 4x12. The one that the orange that had the greenback speakers, if you know what I'm talking about. Which I still have all that gear. I just don't really use it nearly as much, especially the giant amp. Like I don't have space for that in my apartment. I'm pretty sure this apartment would crumble if I blasted that thing in here. I actually remember when I first got that amp and I hooked it up and I had the volume as low as I could. And it still shook the house because it was just it's a beast. That's the I mean, there's a reason they use those things on like big stages and whatnot. So then I had to keep using my old little portable combo amp for practice. Mesa Boogie. I love Mesas. I guess it could be intimidating, but I think it's just so incredibly dynamic. Like you could get any tone you want out of that thing, you know? Jazzy and clean, it's got you. If you want to like bite someone's face off, metal brutal tone, it's got you. If you want that like nice middle ground pop rock, pop punk kind of vibe, it's got you. And that was great because my band was kind of a little bit all over the place. and there was this little switcher that came with my amp where I could just super quickly change settings to presets, and it was perfect because I could switch between those modes really easily on stage without having to swap a bunch of gear and stuff like that. I had that band sets tight. Like, we would rehearse, and this is good advice for anybody who wants to like rehearse or like have a band and play in a band, is that, ooh, yeah, the Marshalls are great. It's all really taste. Like, if you get any top end amp, you're gonna be set, you know? There's some nuances that differentiate them, but yeah, I think any of those top end amplifiers are peak. They're all amazing. The Marshall's got a little bit more sponginess to them. Definitely a great amp. But yeah, I think that if you want to perform, we would rehearse every little thing. Like, if anyone was swapping gear, that was part of our practice. If someone was doing a merch plug or like a streaming plug or something, that was worked into our practice. Every minute aspect of our performance we would do in rehearsal, and then we would time it, because you should know how long your sets are going to be. And I would always make sure that we finished with 5 extra minutes, because promoters, if there's one thing every promoter hates, it's bands that don't finish their sets on time. Like, bands that go over will just throw the whole night off, and then it becomes this domino effect because you got to swap gear with the next band, and then that takes time. So we just used that extra 5 minutes to offload our equipment, and then that gave the bands after us extra time to do their mic check, which got us invited to other shows because bands like when they have extra time to get ready. So yeah, make sure that you got a tight, like, planned out set, and be as courteous as possible to everyone you're interacting with, especially the sound guy. The sound guy is your best friend, and if he's not, make him your best friend. Or her. I've just noticed sound engineers tend to skew male, like a lot of things. But I'm sure there's tons of badass sound engineers who are women as well. All this gear talk has all-time low stuck in my head now, so I guess that's an improvement. Because I think I'll take all-time low over Chocolate Rain.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
We're a gearhead. I still am a gearhead. I just buy different gear now. Synthesizers and T-Ware. But yeah, no, I love gear. Um, Especially, back when I was touring with a band, I had a lot more reason to be knowledgeable because I was the one who kind of basically designed and bought all of our equipment setups. So I made our I made our in-ear system that we used. I and like assembled that and ordered all the parts for it. I half of the like the bass. Let me think here. The drum kit that we used was my kit. The guitar setup was usually my guitar amp and everything, because they the guitarists that we had only had little, like, meh kind of amplifiers, and I wanted two, I wanted 3 stacks, two guitar stacks and a bass stack, because even if you're not using the output, or you're not doing like on stage mixing with the amps, just having that wall of sound come off of the stage is really powerful because people feel that. You know, you have this just wall of speakers facing the crowd. They literally feel the pressure of that coming off of the stage, and that energizes and excites them, especially at smaller to medium venues. So yeah, I was the tech for our band in a sense, while also fronting it. But that's also kind of why I ended up just doing my solo thing, because like I'd mentioned before, it was just a lot for one person to chase after everyone and be in charge of all of our gear, this, that, and the other. And doing solo stuff now, I can just kind of do whatever I want. I can do a show and I only need a small amount of gear because a lot of the stuff I do now is digital. I can not do shows and just work on digital media and creating a online persona. You know, I have a lot more options because I don't have to, what's the word? I don't have to make concessions to the vision of other people. I can just do my thing, and I like that. Especially because you got to keep a lineup for a band, and I was constantly like losing members because I was diehard about it. I wanted people to know their parts. Like I was rehearsal time is not practice time kind of person. And a lot of people were very casual about their engagement with music, which is totally cool. Like everyone has their own level at which they engage with art, but I needed people who were a little more diehard than what I had access to. So it's just easier to do my own thing. I'm much happier and much less stressed out. It was definitely fun though too, like getting to travel the Northeast in a little van, and we had a shuttle bus that we used for one leg of our tour because none of us had like a proper vehicle we could haul all our gear in. So we borrowed vehicles from people, and one of them was a shuttle bus, which we got because we just came back to Buffalo, where we were based at the time. We came back from Buffalo from the first leg of our tour, and right as we were about like we took the car that we were borrowing in, we got a oil change, and we got, I can't remember what else, but we did a little courtesy maintenance on it to show our appreciation. And I kid you not, as we were driving to drop it off, it died. The transmission went out and it was cooked. And I felt so bad that they had to come and pick up their car on the side of the road and get it towed back to their house. It was awful. I felt so bad because they were doing us like a massive solid, but they were cool about it. And after that, we were in a shuttle bus, and that was a trip because we would have all our gear in the bus with us. And yeah, I don't know, it was just fun. It made me really want to get a shuttle bus for my own to tour that I could modify, put like special storage in, have like pull out bunks for sleeping and whatnot. I had a whole vision, but that requires money, and we weren't making that kind of money. Though we would get okay money, you know, we'd make like $200-300 a night on average. Some nights closer to 500 if we pushed a lot of merch. So it wasn't too bad, but you know, you have a lot of overhead that deducts from that. Touring is expensive, but it was fun. It was so much fun. Here's a piece of advice too. If anyone who's watching this ever wants to tour, and you're like, oh, I don't have the pull to tour, you don't need it. Find local bands, like route out your tour, and then go through each city and just start messaging bands that are popular in their scene, and be like, hey, can I hop on a show with you? I'm looking for a show at this date. Is there anything that I could hop on with y'all? And then you use the influence of those bands to secure the promoter. So you get a band and be like, yeah, we'd love to do a show on X date. And you go, cool. Then you reach out to the promoter and you say, hey, I have this band and this band from the area that are down to do a show with me. They usually pull really well. I'm sure you're familiar with them. Is there any way that we could play a show at your venue on X date? And 9 times out of 10, as long as you have two good locals backing you up, any promoter will say yes to that. As long as you pick some locals who can pull. And then you just leverage those relationships. Yeah. I think life is a journey, and every phase you got to kind of ask yourself, what do I like about this phase of my life? What's working for me and what's not, and set yourself up for the next stage in life to get a little bit more of what you enjoy and a little bit less of what you don't. And that's kind of been the story of my life. Just bit by bit, a little bit more of what I enjoy, a little bit less of what I don't. And I still got a long ways to go, I think. I haven't accomplished everything I want, and I definitely don't make the kind of money I would hope to make, but I think, slowly but surely I'm finding my way, and getting what I want out of life more and more. That's kind of what it's all about. Life is such an ephemeral experience. I think it's important to prioritize contentment. So anyway, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. This tea got me rambling for real. Reminiscing about the glory days.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
Next thing I want to learn is I want to learn to animate. So I'm going to work towards getting a drawing tablet. And then eventually I want to do some like mixed media stuff, which will be really fun. Because I've always loved animation and anime and Western animation as well. But definitely anime. Miyazaki. I have a sleeve on my left leg that I'm working on. That's all Miyazaki inspired stuff. So I would love to be able to make my own contributions to the world of animation. Because I've definitely got some fun ideas for that. I want to do a sort of sci-fi epic animation. I play for myself, and I guess that's why tone hunting and gear hunting still appeals to me. Did it as a living and got burned out from it. I definitely do the same. T-Wars. Yeah, no, I think that that's a great approach. I think even if you want to make a living off of any kind of art, the the best rule of thumb is to never lose sight of what initially motivates you to do it, and make sure that you still are ultimately doing, these artistic endeavors for yourself. Because I think that it's so easy to complicate things when money becomes an incentive, but usually it's the authenticity and the sincerity of passion that draws people to something that makes it profitable, at least in my opinion. And so I think by making money a secondary goal, you actually make it a much easier goal to attain. Yo, I think you should go for it. I don't think it matters because, you know, it's one of those things that's like everyone will say, oh, this doesn't work with this, but they only say that until someone does. And if that's, that's you, you like metal, you like tea. I think that that's all that's necessary to make it work. You are that missing puzzle piece that makes it cohesive. You know what I mean? So I say go for it. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. I think I'm probably just gonna start with a Galaxy Tab because they have the S6 Lite that they just released a new version of, and it's, only, big air quotes on only, $300, and it comes with a drawing pen, and it's powerful enough to run pretty much any drawing program. And I think that will be a good starting point for me. Uh, I've dabbled a little bit in Blender, but I think a drawing tablet would be a helpful tool to help me get a little deeper into it rather than trying to draw with a mouse. But yeah, the sci-fi story I want to make, which that's sort of like a satirization or like an analysis of the intersection of Christofascism and white supremacy, and how indoctrination into that culture can blind you to reality. So the idea of like the prince of this empire going out and having to confront the sort of doctrine that he's been taught and compare it to reality and have that challenged as he interacts with people who exist outside the purview of the empire and have their own culture and history, and those ideas challenge what he's been taught. But then I also have an idea of like when this is like one of those memories that I can't tell if it was a dream or an actual memory, but I have this memory of seeing a movie, this like old Hong Kong style kung fu movie, where the protagonist, for whatever reason, has to ascend this tower. And every floor of the tower he goes up, there's another opponent that he has to fight. And each one-on-one becomes, more grueling and more intense. The first one is like a dude his size, and it's pretty easy win. And then he goes up the next level and is this big ass dude. And then they start like using weapons and stuff like that. And it just gets more and more intense and absurd and exciting. And that would be a fun thing to make an anime of. So that's another one that I want to make eventually. But step one is get the drawing tablet, learn to draw. But I'll get there. Give me a couple years. But yeah, it feels like I'm hitting that point in my life where I'm more able to just do the things I want to do and bunker down and grind out the process. And I think that in a couple years, I'm really gonna be able to unleash the totality of my creative vision. I mean, hey, not everything speaks to everyone. Maybe I'll have the same experience. Hopefully not, but I, excuse me. I do have all these ideas, these like visual ideas I want to create. I think that I don't know. I think I'll stick it out, but we'll see. It's a lot easier said than done. I Yeah, I'm excited to give it a shot. I think buying a pricey tablet to draw will incentivize me to stick to it. Well, this tea is tasting pretty brewed out, so I think I'm gonna wrap things up here. But I appreciate you hanging out, Sammy. I appreciate everyone who came by and hung out for a little bit, whether you were in the chat or just lurking, watching, having a good time. Thank you, Sammy. Good luck on your journey, and I hope that life blesses you with abundance. Have a lovely day, everybody. Thanks for joining me.
dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.